What is up, guys? A very good Friday to you all, and welcome to the last trading day of the week. Dollar index, euro dollar, and the other major dollar pairs, and of course gold, are going to be discussed in this video. So let's dive straight in. Starting off with the dollar index. The dollar index is currently reacting to this imbalance area of demand, which took out this area of supply. Yesterday we saw a break of structure, price pulled back in towards this imbalance over here, and that is starting to move up, with the potential for a new push in towards, of course, this area of supply, which we are expecting next. If this demand zone were to fill, there is still potential for us to move slightly lower in towards this demand zone. This area of demand over here has already been mitigated / taken out, so there are no real orders left. So if we do not hold in either this zone or this zone, that would mean that we could see a further retracement on the dollar index back down in towards 105.951. So yeah, expecting for the upside from the dollar index, either from this zone or from 105.951, or the extreme area of demand at 105.620. So that is that for the dollar index. Quick dive in towards the 15-minute time frame. Then we can obviously see the overall uptrend structure that the dollar index has had over here on the 15, with the push up, the pullback, the push up, the pullback, and the push up. Current pullback in towards the downside, and we're now kind of breaking out of this descending wedge structure. So let's see on the 15 if we can reclaim this high. Then I would be far more confident that we're going to see those higher prices on the dollar index. So yeah, let's see if we can start moving up from here. Moving on in towards euro dollar. So euro USD, yesterday we saw, of course, kind of like some manipulation going on due to all the red folder news that we had surrounding the euro, the speech of Lagarde, and more also on the dollar index. Now, looking at euro dollar as a whole, of course, we're coming from this area of supply, dumps very aggressively in towards the downside. So there's a lot of downside momentum still resting on euro dollar. At the moment, I'm looking at this 4-hour area of supply, which broke this 4-hour area of demand. Of course, this 4-hour area of demand still held and has pushed price up higher. However, it is not really fresh. There aren't really any orders left inside. So it is very likely that, of course, euro dollar will start pushing down lower, in line with the overall push up higher on the dollar index. Moving in towards the 15 minutes, so just keep in mind, guys, this is the 4-hour on euro dollar. The only kind of thing, by the way, still that is pointing, let's say, in a positive direction for euro dollar is the fact that we're kind of like around this 50% mark on, let's say, the 4-hour swing structure. So what you can obviously see is that it acts as resistance and it acts as support. So we've broken it towards the downside. So it's kind of being resistance, also aligned with this area of supply. So it is more likely that euro dollar is going to move in towards the downside. So I am aiming for around 104.700 on euro dollar. So next, let's focus on the 15-minute time frame, because this is where it gets more interesting. So overall, the 15-minute is bearish from a swing structure perspective. We can clearly see push down, pullback, push down, pullback, and then another push down. So yesterday there was a long opportunity. Of course, after this 15-minute break of structure, what do we expect? We expect a pullback in towards the upside. So what I was looking at, I was looking for an internal structure break to clarify that the potential pullback was going to be coming. So we got the push down, the pullback, the push down. Then we got the push up, the internal break of structure. Demand was formed because this demand zone took out this internal structure high. Then what do we see? You can simply place your order on top of that area of demand. Put your stop loss below the zone, and then target the highs once again for a 1, 2, 3. So ultimately, price stalled at a 1 to 2.74. So pretty much a break-even trade for myself. But yes, still a very interesting opportunity that you could have taken. With us being in 4-hour demand, of course, the break of structure being heavily underway. If you were to draw in a fib over here and look at the fib extension level, what you'll very clearly most likely see is, exactly. So the 618 over here acting as your area of support from where the market had the potential to move up higher. But then, of course, a lot of news came out and a lot of manipulation came out. So what happened furthermore is no internal break of structure on this low over here, because there was no close below it. So pretty much just that push up, the pullback, then a new internal break of structure. And since then, just higher highs and higher lows. So at the moment, The structure on the internal is looking like this. This is your swing low and this is your current swing high. Price has now pulled back in towards this demand zone. So there is potential for us to still move higher slightly. But what I'm waiting for is for the internal structure to flip bearish once again. So we need to start breaking this low over here. If we can break that low, then I'll be looking for shorts on euro dollar. So yeah, we got some nice ascending price action over here in towards the highs, of course. So it is very likely that the market should break down and break this low. If it does, okay, good, we look for shorts. But this demand zone, of course, took out this high, took out this area of supply, so it could push the market up for now. So yeah, simply what we want to do and what we want to be waiting for is those shorts until the 15-minute, of course, breaks this high over here. There are still some areas of supply located higher on euro dollar. So if this demand zone does hold, then we just wait for the next one. This becomes your swing low, wait for the swing low to break, or the internal break structure low, excuse me, and then we just look for those new shorts. So very clear game plan. Hope you guys understand. And yeah, let's move on in towards Aussie dollar. So AUD USD, what are we looking for on this pair? Well, starting off with the 4-hour, price pulled back in towards this area of supply over here. This buy before the sell. This buy before the sell, of course, took out the lows over here. The only thing I don't really like about this low is the fact that this is kind of like more of a liquidation low. So we have this low over here, this low over here, this low over here. As you guys know, for the entire week, and I think last week as well, I was calling, okay, we want to see this low over here get taken out. So now we've taken out that low, and pretty much what we have over here on Aussie dollar on the 4-hour is this kind of like a range structure, where this is your high and this was your low. And then what you can pretty much see is that, for example, over here, the 75% mark is your resistance, 25% mark is kind of like a support and resistance zone. And then once you liquidate the low, kind of like the concept is that, okay, we can potentially move up higher. If this supply zone does not hold, or this supply zone does not hold, then it's very likely, of course, we're going to liquidate the highs. But what I'm waiting for now, and I don't want to overcomplicate it here on Aussie dollar, is two different zones. So either this buy before the sell, move down from there, or this extreme buy before the sell and move down from there. Overall, this is now your swing high and this is now your swing low. So logically, we expect to pull back after break of structure, get that pullback in towards the highs. And there was a lower time frame opportunity yesterday, by the way, but now reacting to this 4-hour area of supply. So now we move in towards the lower time frame, and then we see, okay, can we trade? Let's say the lower time frame. Let's see. So overall, of course, what you'll see is that the entire impulse down on the 4-hour is a trend on the 15. So we get that downward trend over here. Very clear internal breaks of structure. So until at a certain point in time, after the break of structure, what happens, guys? After the break of structure, what do we see? We see an internal break of structure over here on this high. So when you see that internal break of structure after a swing break of structure on the 4-hour, so this was the kind of like the swing down on the 4-hour, then what do we see on the lower time frame? We see this happen. This is the 15-minute internal break of structure, which you see over here. That is when we expect that pullback to occur. And then what's very high probability is if you get two of those internal breaks of structure, just to make sure it's not kind of like just a liquidity grab and then, of course, a sell-off. So what happens? We get that internal break of structure, pullback, internal break of structure again, pullback. This is the perfect long opportunity. Very clear 1, 2, 3. Over here with a fake out on the second low of that overall structure. So you have the 1, you have the 2, and then a fake out on that second low, then the reversal in towards the highs. So very beautiful to see. And this was the long opportunity yesterday that Kareem shared as well in the market updates channel. By the way, guys, make sure to join the free Discord, link in the description down below. So overall, for now, the market has been holding order flow. So every single time you can see, okay, sell before the buy, boom, we tap back in towards the sell before the buy, pop back out, sell before the buy, tap back in, move back out again. So now we're pretty much starting to chop and chop and chop after touching in towards that 4-hour area of supply, guys. So now what we want to see is an internal break of structure on this low, same as on euro dollar. If we can break that low, then we look for shorts in towards the downside. That is the game plan for today, and what I'm going to be looking for. So pretty much just that. We could, of course, if you want to be more aggressive, already look at a break of this low, but I would just see this as one impulse. But yeah, if we kind of like get a good close, then you could already look for those potential shorts in towards the downside from this buy before the sell-off. So that's your Aussie dollar, excuse me. and then just trade the trend in towards the downside, with every single time just shorting on supply in line with the overall 4-hour swing structure. So yeah, very clear opportunities over here on Aussie dollar, a beautiful pair. Moving on in towards pound dollar. So pound dollar is slightly more messy. If we look at the 4-hour over here, yeah, pulling back in towards this imbalance candle. So this 4-hour candle over here, pulling back in towards there, and yeah, tanking from it. So overall, what I'm looking at is the 1-hour time frame, and from a 1-hour perspective, yeah, what can we see? Well, overall, the 1-hour, swing structure wise has this high and has this low. Overall, we have kind of like the internal structure over here on the 1-hour. So this is now your internal high, this is your internal low. You can clearly see the trend. So overall, you want to be shorting from here, right? So what we get is kind of a squeeze in towards the highs. This kind of like squeezing, ascending pattern, boom, breakout in towards the downside. So for now, what I'm waiting for on pound dollar before going short myself is for us to break this low over here. If we can break that low, react to this demand zone, for example, pull back, then look for a shorting opportunity. So that is pound dollar for you. Otherwise, I'm not really looking to go long yet. You could look for long from this zone if you kind of favor the potential upside that it has, looking at it from a 4-hour perspective, but overall just not very high probability for myself, with the downside being the more momentum kind of like set up with impulse down, pull back, impulse down, pull back, impulse down is kind of like what you expect next. Of course, the 4-hour swing structure is bullish, but it's not very clean at all, with this kind of being a range. Now moving in towards the daily as well, we've had a daily change of character, bearish again, so it is very likely, and we are reacting, by the way, to this kind of like extreme area of demand over here, but not very high probability for us to kind of like start buying in towards the highs. So just keep that in mind when trading pound dollar. Moving on in towards Kiwi dollar. And again, it's a bit of a long outlook today, guys, but hope you enjoy it. Don't forget to leave a like. But looking at Kiwi dollar overall here from a daily perspective, the daily is bearish. Yeah, this is your high, this is your low. So overall, we're reacting to daily demand over here. Nothing really very strong as of yet. It is very likely, though, still that Kiwi dollar has far more potential to move and sell off in towards the downside to create a new lower low in line with the overall weekly trend. But focusing on the 4-hour, our favorite time frame, of course, the 4-hour is bearish from this high over here, black line, in towards this low. Prices kind of like start to pull back, took out this liquidity high over here. This imbalance kind of like was your supply, but there's no liquidation, the move down. So what happens, the supply zone itself becomes liquidity, and this buy before the sell is your real supply zone. Now, yeah, it would have been nicer if Kiwi dollar would have just pulled up slightly higher, but overall, I mean, if we look at the internal structure here on the 15-minute time frame, what can we see? Well, this now is your low to break over here. So if that low goes, then we can start looking for those shorts in line with the overall 4-hour structure. So yeah, I mean, again, very clear setup, very similar to Aussie dollar after the 4-hour break of structure, Over here, what do we get? We get the internal break of structure. That was over here. That signifies, guys, that there's a pullback incoming on the 4-hour. So what happens? Boom, boom, boom. And then again a pullback, boom, and then we move up higher again. So this was a beautiful long that you could have taken. Asian session though, so not really a setup that I would take myself, but still a very beautiful setup, because you kind of get the double confirmation that we really are bullish, and then you want to trade it back up in towards 4-hour supply. So you kind of want to, let's say, just put your order on demand, put your stop loss below the lows, because you know, okay, if these lows go, then we're going to be bearish again, and then you just target 15-minute supply, and then you have a 1 to 2.23, or you target, this supply for 1 to 2 approximately. So yeah, it would have most likely been either some slight profit closing over here at the highs at 1 to 1.5, or just a break-even trade with markets moving back into break-even. So for now, guys, and what we're looking for today is for these lows to go. If we can break those lows, react to this demand zone, pull back in towards supply zone, then look for a potential further short. So that's Kiwi dollar. Now, last of all, gold. So you have gold, guys, from a daily perspective, real quick. What have we been seeing? Well, we've been kind of finding resistance over here at around just below the 2K level. On the 4-hour time frame, Very choppy price action. The markets really don't know what it wants, but overall we can clearly see that this is kind of like a key level over here, 1975, acting as your support and resistance. So for now, yesterday I was looking for potential long from this demand zone, or it was the 1 hour, I think. Yeah, so on the 1 hour I was looking for a long, but yeah, you can see, guys, we come in towards this demand zone, but nothing at all, no rejection. So yeah, no entry. We react to demand inside of this wick, move back up again. Gold is very messy and it is consolidating after, of course, its massive move already in towards the highs. It is bullish if we look at the structure. So yeah, you can look for those longs. Of course, we were moving down. We pulled back in towards supply. We saw reaction, but then bullish momentum was stronger. So yeah, now moving up again. So just focus. Okay, can we reclaim this high? And then look for another long, kind of like on the pullback, to trade it up higher. But I mean, yeah, gold is looking good, guys, for further upside. So just look for those longs. Thank you, guys. 15 minutes 45. Yeah, quite a long one, but thank you for joining. Don't forget to join the Discord server, and I wish you all a fantastic day. Thanks, guys.